Jayne Sanders is a master scientific hand analyst helping people discover their innate life purpose, special talents, and also blind spots to take action on. And as we prepare to delve into our conversation on an interesting topic at hand, SHA, scientific hand analysis, here's an exciting twist. First, let us tickle the brain of our guest. So, Jayne, get ready for a rapid fire round of random words. I'll mention a few, and I would love to hear the first thing that comes to your mind in response without thinking much. Shall we get started?
All right, let's go.
Curiosity.
Cat.
Invention.
Innovation.
Future.
Rosie.
Book.
Read.
Movie.
Love Actually.
Food.
Good.
Universe.
Source.
Leadership.
Inspiration.
Role model.
Mentor.
And the last one is success.
Joy.
Awesome. Spot on. Your responses are really spot on. Thank you so much for participating in the first rapid fire round, and there is one more waiting towards the end of the episode. And folks, welcome to the Guiding Voice podcast series where we embark on transformative conversations for a better future. I'm your host Naveen Samala, dedicated to making the world a better place through valuable discussions that add value not only to your life but also to your career. And thank you so much for tuning in. Jayne, hearty welcome to the Guiding Voice, much awaited conversation. But finally, we are able to make it happen today. How are you?
I am doing just great. Just great. Yeah. Starting out the week. It's Monday morning here in Colorado. So ready to go.
All right, let's get started. And it's a pleasure to have you part of our journey in shaping the careers and lives of millions across the globe. And Jayne, let's start with your success mantra. So please talk to us about top 3 things that are attributed to your success so far.
Top 3 things: desire, persistence, purpose.
Spot on once again. And talking about your career, that's a quite switch from an MBA with corporate background to the current work that you are doing, which is SHA, the scientific hand analysis. So I'm really curious to understand and know from you what motivated this change and how did you hear about scientific hand analysis?
Yeah, good question. Because I've had 3 careers prior to this, always successful, but in each one I would reach a point where I was bored and not happy anymore. And I didn't know what else to do. And I did work with a career coach. I read all the books about figuring out your ideal career. Didn't seem to help me. And during my 3rd career, I was a professional speaker, and that one lasted longer, and I enjoyed it longer. And I realized after I got my hand analysis, it was because I was closer to my purpose, and that's why it lasted longer. Still not close enough. And when my heart pulled away from the business, so did the revenue. So I was just a downward spiral. And then both of my parents passed away within 3 months of each other. And it really opened my eyes. And I just thought, life is short. I need to quit farting around and figure out what it is I'm meant to do, because I believed everybody has a purpose.
Yeah.
So I started Googling, how do I find my life purpose? And went down a couple of wrong avenues following that. And then after a few months, ran across a teleseminar, the headline for a teleseminar, and it read, Discover Your Innate Life Purpose. I couldn't click on that link fast enough. And the first words I saw were hand analysis. I was disappointed because I thought, well, that's probably about palm reading, which can be amazing, a lot of fun, but I didn't think it would get me what I needed. And then I saw the word scientific. So I hung on to that one word and let it put aside my anal MBA skepticism and listen to the teleseminar. And it made a lot of sense. And I really wanted my purpose. So I had a scientific hand analysis done. Blew my mind. I mean, it just explained so much. It was like, well, no wonder that didn't work, but that did. And No wonder I liked that, but I didn't like that. And I could see all the patterns in my life. And even things I'd never thought of before resonated and made sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Even the purpose, which I didn't know yet what it looked like, because the purpose in a hand analysis is not a job description.
Yeah.
It's a description of the concept behind your ideal work, and everybody has options. But I also knew if I took action on the information from my hand analysis that I believed I would find my way. And that's exactly what happened. I started taking action on it and started getting more clarity and introduced to different people, and doors would open, and I got involved in a coaching program. And within a few months, I was like, oh my gosh, if I was so lit up and inspired before I even knew what to do with the information, I want to help people feel like that. So I started studying it and started doing it after my level 1 certification. I'm got 4 levels, which is the highest there are, and highest there is. And I'm a master, which is just the sheer number of hand analysis that I have performed. So yeah, definitely changed my life. This work did.
That's interesting. And you initially thought it was palm reading, but later you realized it is different. So tell us more about it. How SHA, scientific hand analysis, is different from palm reading.
Well, 2 main points. One, the lines in your hands mimic the neural pathways in your brain. So the accuracy is astounding, so much so that Forbes wrote about it. And the gentleman that created this database and put it together over a 40-year period and analyzed over 30,000 hands, wrote a book about it. And the foreword to his book was written by a neurosurgeon from Stanford who was using scientific hand analysis with his patients. And the other big difference is there are no predictions with scientific hand analysis. What's in your hands is either past or current. So, and I have been asked, when am I going to meet Mr. Right? And questions like that. And I don't want to know that. I don't want to get involved with that. And it's not in the hands anyway. But I tell people, I have no idea when you're going to meet your partner, but I can tell you what to work on to make that more possible and happen sooner.
Amazing. And Jayne, you have clients in 12 different countries, right? So how do you see people's hands from a distance? Like virtually, how does it happen?
Yeah, 12 countries. I mean, word spreads, let me tell you. So I use hand prints. So I'll send people a big white envelope that has ink sheets and all the instructions. And it's not hard. The instructions are long just for the instruction impaired. And then they take their prints and get them back to me, and I scan them in. And then we have 2 1-hour Zoom calls. So the first hour is the analysis, which I've already prepared in advance. And I can show them by pulling up that scan, the markings that I'm talking about and where they are in your hands. And then everybody gets those or that recording, a summary report. And the second call is for after they've reviewed that recording, because it's just a lot of information coming at you. It's hard to take it all in. So it's very important that they watch that recording before the second call. And that is for any questions and for me to help them apply the information and take action on it. And that is recorded as well. And they get that recording too.
Yeah. I have a basic question again. There may be a dumb one. Like
no dumb questions, Naveen. No dumb questions.
Okay. So do you look at both hands or only one hand? And which one signifies the most? Or is there anything like that?
Well, yes, I look at both hands. Otherwise, I would only see half of you.
Oh.
Right. So generally, if you're right-handed, that's your dominant hand. And what is in your right hand is what people can see. It's how you show yourself out to the world. And then left hand would be inner and personal and close-knit community pieces of information. And the gentleman that created this put all that in the database. But I definitely need to see both hands. And sometimes, first of all, they're never alike. There may be a couple things that are similar in the right and the left hand, but a lot of differences, especially with the fingerprints.
And how many possible purposes are there in this analysis?
How many possible purposes? Hundreds.
Mm-hmm.
Hundreds. Because we get the purpose, the big pieces of information, we call them the soul agreements. Our life purpose, life lesson, and life school. Those three pieces of information come from your fingerprints, which are formed when you're still in the womb and never change throughout your life, of course. So, and then a lot of people have fingerprints in their hands as well, in their palm. I would say 75% of my clients have at least one fingerprint in their hand somewhere. And because purpose comes from the fingerprints, the core of the purpose, because I do purpose in two ways, the core and then an expanded version. It depends on how many fingerprints are involved in your purpose. So you could have a print on one finger, that's your purpose, the core of your purpose, or it could involve 4 different prints. So, and considering that there's 10 fingerprints and then, probably 6 possibilities in each hand, because the location tells me what it means. So what's that? 10 plus 12, that's 22 options, 22 times 22 different possibilities of the core of your purpose.
What are the most important markings?
Well, those 3 would be them. So the life purpose, the life lesson, which is really important. That is the number one obstacle that anybody has, keeping them from that deeper joy and fulfillment that are only possible by living in alignment with your purpose. So the life lesson is the number one place to take action, but it's the greatest obstacle. So it's very important to know about, so you know where to take action. And then the third one is life school, which is, if you were a computer, it would be your operating system. So it's kind of like the overarching energy of your life and the filter through which you experience life and make a lot of decisions. So the purpose, lesson, and school would be the 3 biggest pieces of information, but there's lots of others too. Everything in your hands means something.
Okay, and have you heard about this concept of genetic brain profiling, GBP? GBP, there is a similar concept here, and which is popularized by certain coaches, and they also pick up the fingerprints and do the analysis to find out which career would be apt for people. Like, I'm trying to understand if this GBP and SHA are related in some way.
I've never heard of GBB.
GBP.
GP? No, I've never heard of that. What's that stand for?
Fair enough. All right. So I think this has been great conversation, and I'm really curious to find out what my 3 important markings are. I think probably we can have one-off conversation offline. And this has been fabulous conversation, and it's time for us to add some more spice and some more excitement to the episode. So with your consent, I'm going to bring up the second rapid fire round with another set of intriguing questions. Are you ready for it?
Sure. I'll give it a shot.
Okay, here comes the first bullet. If you could have one gigantic billboard anywhere with anything on it, what would it say?
It would say, live your purpose, love your life.
Live your purpose and love your life.
Well, if you live your purpose, you will love your life.
Yeah. And next one is like, what's a random act of kindness you have done or received recently?
Well, so the week before last in the United States, it was Thanksgiving, big holiday here. And I was actually on a Danube river cruise in Europe. And I just, on a whim, bought a pack of turkey napkins. And I passed those out at lunch because most of the people on the river cruise were American. Oh man, you'd have thought I was giving them a bag of gold, just a silly little dinner napkin with a turkey on it. But that was a lot of fun. So that was a random act of kindness that I did. Yeah.
Nice. And Jayne, can you describe yourself in just one word?
Oh, that's tough. I'm going to say connector, because I connect people together and I connect people to their innate purpose.
I love it. And what's a skill or talent you have that most people don't know about?
Well, all my friends know, but listeners would not know that I am an equestrian, and I will be leaving this interview to go ride my horse. So I would say horseback riding, very important part of my life.
Wow. Interesting. And Jayne, if you could switch lives with someone for a day, who would it be and why?
Oh, I'm going to say a zookeeper, because I'm an animal freak. And, if for some reason I couldn't have done what I'm doing now, I would like to be a caretaker for some wild animal.
Wow. And I love those elephants behind you in the wallpaper.
Yeah. Well, that's my bucket list trip, is a big trip in Africa.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And here comes the last one for rapid fire. What is one electronic gadget or a fantasy gadget that you'd like to see or invent yourself?
A personal weather forecaster. Yeah, because weather I have to watch all the time because I ride my horse. And, it's of course near the mountains. It's never 100% accurate. But yeah, that would be neat to just have one. I don't know, something like that.
Good one. And let's flip back to the mainstream. I have one more curious question. Like, since we spoke about the scientific hand analysis, and you might have done hundreds of hands analysis, and you must have analyzed hundreds or thousands of clients' hands. So, is there any mind-blowing fact or mind-blowing thing that you came across, which you never expected, and maybe by looking at somebody's profile, oh my God, this is something which I didn't expect at all. Did you come across this kind of situation?
Well, here's the thing. I would say, over half the time, especially if I know the person, which has nothing to do with what I see in their hands, because that is what's there, period.
Right.
It is still, after all these years and hundreds of conducted analysis, it still shocks me how spot on, how accurate the information is. And I would say 30% of the time, people cry because they feel so seen and understood. And they're just, I have goosebumps when I talk about it. It's just the work is just, it really is astounding. It's astounding.
Superb. And Jayne, is there any special offer for our audience in case if they would like to get the SHA done by you?
Oh, I'd be happy to.
And also, how can they connect with you? Like, of course.
Yeah. So I would be happy to do that. So my retail price for the analysis, the kit, the 2 hours, the recordings, and the summary report is about average for a master, and there's not many masters at all. And that's $497 US. Happy to offer your listeners $100 off that. So it would be a total of $397. And I can send you the payment link to put in your notes.
Yeah.
Or, yes, and they can go to my website at Purpose Whisperer, WHISPERER, so purposewhisperer.com, and contact me through my website and tell me that you've heard my interview on your podcast, and I will send them the payment link. Happy to do that.
Super. Yeah. So, folks, that's a 20% discount from the regular retail price. So, I strongly urge you to leverage this opportunity, and you'll find the link to Jayne's website in the show notes or the episode description. So, go ahead and find out what you really deserve, and if you are in the right career and what is your potential. I think Jayne personally had her own realization, and she has been helping hundreds and thousands of clients across the globe. So leverage this opportunity. And Jayne, I thoroughly enjoyed. In fact, it is a great learning to me as well. Like I got to learn a new subject today in the form of scientific hand analysis, and I thoroughly enjoyed our conversation. So how is it your experience being hosted on my platform, the Guiding Voice Podcast?
Oh gosh, Naveen, a very creative approach with your rapid fire questions. That was very different, and helps your listeners see different sides of your guests, which is kind of cool and just very thought-provoking. So thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. Pleasure is mine, and thank you once again for sharing your amazing insights by spending valuable time with our audience. And looking forward to many more conversations, Jayne. I really appreciate you taking time.
Thank you so much. I appreciate being here.
All right. So, friends, that was our episode with Jayne Sanders on scientific hand analysis. And before we jump into the fun trivia section, we have a quick request. In case if you haven't already subscribed to the Guiding Voice podcast, please subscribe from wherever you have tuned in, because subscribing keeps you updated on new episodes. And also, if you have enjoyed the conversation and found it beneficial, please share with at least 3 of your friends or colleagues who would also like TGV, the Guiding Voice. So spread the knowledge and help others grow just like you. All right, now let's cruise into the trivia segment of today's episode. Today we had amazing conversation about scientific hand analysis. I thought I would present a few facts related to palmistry, which is completely different from SHA. Because palmistry, in most of the times, they think about future prediction, but Jayne has clearly mentioned SHA is all about past and present. It is nothing got to do with your future, and SHA is something related to our neural paths and how they are connected to the brain. And the founder has spent more than 40 years in terms of creating this whole framework, and that's the beauty of SHA. Now let's take a look at palmistry, right? What is palmistry? And palmistry is the process of interpreting the lines, shapes, and mounts on the palm to gain insights to an individual's character, potential, and future. There are 3 less known facts about palm reading. First one is finger length ratios. Some palmists consider the ratio of the length of the fingers as an indicator of certain personality traits. For example, the ratio of the index finger to the ring finger may be associated with prenatal hormone exposure. And a lower ratio, shorter index finger compared to the ring finger, is believed by some to be associated with a higher exposure to testosterone in the womb and potentially influencing certain personality characteristics. Next is about mounts of the palm. In addition to lines, palmists also analyze the mounts of the palm, which are the fleshy pads at the base of each finger, and each mount is associated with a different planet and astrological influence. For example, the mount beneath the index finger is associated with Jupiter, symbolizing ambition and leadership. The mount beneath the thumb is associated with Venus, representing love and passion. And third is about fingernail shape. The shape and texture of fingernails can be considered in palmistry. For instance, a concave or spoon-shaped nail may be associated with anemia or nutritional deficiencies. And long, well-formed nails may be seen as a sign of creativity and attention to detail, while short or bitten nails might indicate nervousness or a tendency to be critical. And it is very important to note that palmistry is not scientifically proven, and interpretations can vary among practitioners. And people should take such readings with a grain of skepticism and for entertainment purposes rather than relying on them for serious life decisions, unlike SHA, which is scientifically proven. And as Jayne has created a lot of awareness, I think it is going to benefit us in case if we rely on SHA. So folks, I would love to hear from you in terms of which part of the episode you liked the most today. And also, I would like to understand if you have already gone through SHA. If so, how did it help you? Do let me know. And in case if you are watching this episode on YouTube, you can comment there. Or if you found this episode on some social media platforms, you can comment there as well. I'm going to review them for sure. And that's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in and also for being part of our awesome TGV community. Folks, we would love to hear from you. So do not hesitate to share your ideas, feedback, topic recommendations, guest speaker suggestions, or any other thoughts either through our social media platforms, or you can also email us at theguidingvoiceforyou@gmail.com. Let's create content that resonates with you. I'm your host Naveen Samala, a lifelong learner, and my goal is to have impactful conversations that improve not only your life but also your career. So until next time, take care, stay inspired, and remember, the future holds great things because the best is yet to come. Goodbye for now. See you on in the next episode with another amazing guest.